From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, it's Nick Petro with your routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina on this Monday, the 2nd of May, 2022. And the very first thing I want to draw your attention to, there's quite a few things I want to bring to your attention, but this right here is priority number one, which is if you notice on our webpage, weather.gov/Raleigh, right at the top, you see that gray bar there? Hurricane Preparedness Week 2022. That's this week. It's both a national event and a North Carolina's Hurricane Preparedness Week. And I would love to encourage everyone to take this time to click this read more button here. And there is all kinds of preparedness information on this page. Now, what I would love for you to do, if you would, is help us act as sort of, we're trying to get this word out to as many people as we can, right? Because, Central North Carolina, while we're not on the coast, we are prone to impacts from hurricanes, particularly freshwater flooding. And, some of the stronger storms could bring high winds, but probably our biggest threat here in Central North Carolina is flooding, okay? And, there's things we can do to help prepare for that and to get ready, to recognize, number one, if you're in a flood-prone area, that's the first thing, is determine your risk. And if you are, develop an evacuation plan. But, of course, assembling disaster supplies and checking your insurance and strengthening your home is also things you want to do this week. And then finally, help your neighbor, because not everybody knows that, that's the thing you want to do when the weather's fair and the weather's good before the hurricanes really get going. This is the time you want to prepare for the season. It'll be here before you know it. The last couple of years we've had tropical cyclones in late May. So anyway, and then once you have all that figured out, write it down. Complete a written plan so that you have a playbook for not only this year, but years in the future. And you could share that with your family and friends and neighbors and coworkers and colleagues. Have a plan for home, school, business, house of worship, whatever it is. Have a written plan for how you're going to prepare for, respond, and recover from hurricanes. And each day we're focusing on a particular topic. And you could learn more by clicking on each of these tabs. Like today is develop an evacuation plan. That's the topic for today. So go through and take some time to read this. And, if you have friends at the coast, send them this Know Your Zone, because North Carolina started this a few years back, where there are now evacuation zones for coastal areas. So now's the time you want to learn what your evacuation zone is for that storm surge prone areas. Okay, so this is the week we want to do this. Now, the reason I'm asking for your help is because, if you can encourage folks in your sphere of influence to prepare, then you're basically force multipliers for us. You help us get the word out. And that's what we need. We need folks to assist us in just simply getting the word out, to remind folks and encourage folks to partake in this week's Hurricane Preparedness Week activities. And how do you partake? It's easy. Just go to our website, weather.gov/Raleigh, click read more at this big banner at the top, and then take it from there. You'll be all set. Okay? So that was priority number one. Just wanted to mention that and make sure everybody's aware of that. All right. So let's take a look at the weather. What about, we've got some active weather, particularly potentially today, if you're along or east of I-95. Here's the current conditions. And the reason I first am showing dew points is because the dew points allow for me to really easily distinguish a cold front that's in here. Well, it's probably more stationary, and I'll show you why in a minute. But look at these dew points. Like here's a 50 up in Central Virginia, a 62 at Richmond. So there's a boundary between that, right? And you could follow that boundary where these, where on the north side it's drier and on the south side it's more moist. You could follow that boundary right kind of along where I'm drawing right here, okay? And you could see that's where there is a difference in air masses. Now, why is it stationary? Because look at these winds. The winds are kind of blowing parallel to it each side, right? So it's not really getting a push from one side or the other, right? So the winds are blowing along it rather than against it or pushing it one way or the other. So this boundary is going to linger here for a while, and that will probably be some sort of a player in our weather over the next week. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I don't think that boundary is going to move much today, but where we're going to focus our shower and thunderstorm chances today is right along the coastal areas, because we're going to have a lot of sea breeze activity going, or expected to have sea breeze activity going. And when you couple that with the very buoyant air mass, look at those dew points in the upper 60s and temperatures, over 80 already at the coast. That's a good ingredients for showers and thunderstorms, for those storms to build vertically and potentially become severe. All right, so and then you see this line I drew back here, that's the front. We'll have to deal with that tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday as this boundary kind of meanders along and east of the mountains. All right, so anyway, let me clear the screen here, and that's your little setup, if you will, for this week. All right, so but first things first, I want to mention there is a severe thunderstorm outlook, level 1 out of 5, a marginal risk for severe storms, where you see that darker shade of green. And again, thinking basically along and east of I-95, say from south of Rocky Mount southward and eastward. And that includes Fayetteville, and that includes eastern Scotland and Hoke counties, Cumberland counties, Sampson County, far eastern Johnston and Wayne counties in that marginal risk, and points eastward. So that those storms we're expecting anytime between 3 and 8 p.m. and hail and damaging winds are the greatest threat. Now, coverage is going to be pretty isolated, right? So these aren't going to be widespread. It's not going to be, well organized, but just, again, that's what marginal means, isolated, okay? Limited in duration, coverage, or intensity, okay? So, and once you get west of, say, west of Raleigh and north of Raleigh, we're not really expecting any thunderstorms today. But that may change tomorrow. We'll see. All right. So anyway, here's the pattern, and look at that boundary there in the upper left panel. That's the boundary I pointed out. And that's not really going to go very far or make much movement, but basically the flow along it's going to be sort of westerly. So there'll be some showers and thunderstorms forming in vicinity of that boundary, maybe drifting east, maybe additional shower and thunderstorms the next few days along the sea breeze. So the bottom line is we're looking for unsettled weather right through much of the work week. It won't be raining the entire time. In fact, it'll be dry most of the time. But then there'll be these occasional or isolated, if you will. Occasional is not the right word to use, but more in the way of isolated, scattered showers and thunderstorms each day, mainly during the afternoon and evenings when we're maximizing our heating and such. So anyway, again, not a washout for this week, not a drought buster, but just do know that there's a chance for showers and thunderstorms each day this week. Okay. The other headline for this week is going to be hot. Okay. Now, when I say hot, upper 80s, maybe 90, maybe 91 in some spots. That's not like absurdly hot, right? But keep in mind we are in May, and as I pointed out last week during the briefing, when we start getting these early season heat episodes, our bodies aren't quite acclimated yet to the heat. So, while 90 may not, you may not struggle with 90 degrees, come August, you might struggle with it in May because of, we're just not quite acclimated to that heat just yet. So be careful with outdoor activities, drink lots of water, take frequent breaks, because it's going to be warm, if not hot, later this week. And then finally, that frontal system will finally make a good push eastward late this week. It'll be more potent, if you will, cold front, and that'll push through, and that'll give us a decent chance, a better chance, if you will, for rain later this week, and maybe even into early weekend. Timing's a little uncertain. It might be more Saturday than Friday, but basically one of those 2 days will offer the better chance for showers and thunderstorms. And then in the wake of that front, it'll be dry, but a bit cooler on Sunday and into Monday. All right, so that's the way we see this shaping up. When you look at the day's rain, notice how on the upper left, most of the scattering of rain in green is east of I-95. You'll notice it's kind of scattered all across central North Carolina. Tuesday, that's the upper middle. Wednesday is the upper right. It's kind of more focused more toward eastern North Carolina. Thursday, it's kind of the green is pretty widely, painted across most of North Carolina. And then look at Friday, that's the bottom middle. You see those numbers a little bit higher. Well, that's with that more potent front coming through. So that when you add up the next 5 days worth of rain, most of central North Carolina, most of the area, should see anywhere from 3/4 to 1.5 inches of rain. All right, so again, that'll be welcome for particularly those areas hard hit by the drought. Some places will receive more. It just depends on where the heavier downpours with thunderstorms occur and or if any training occurs. But in general, most folks should see 3/4 of an inch of rain, maybe as much as 1.5 inches. All right, so there you have it there with the rain. Right now, we think the rain probably will fall in a manner that right now does not suggest organized flash flooding. And what I mean by that is, right now we can't, nail down any places where, showers and storms would train or move very slowly. So right now we're not expecting any organized flash flooding. And that's why these maps here are blank. All right. You can never rule out a localized poor drainage flooding situation with heavy downpours. But again, the takeaway from this slide is no organized flash flooding. All right. What about the SPC outlooks? Again, there's our marginal risk for today along and east of I-95. There is a chance that it might be bumped up the next couple days. Right now these maps show just general thunder, but I wouldn't be surprised as we head through the week if we see another marginal posted somewhere, across the Carolinas. If that happens, we will email that separately to you, just like we did an hour ago. One of my colleagues here at the office sent out a single slide briefing showing you the marginal risk today. Of course, we'll do that as the outlooks warrant. All right, looking further down the road, not this week, but the week after, and odds favor above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. Unfortunately, that's not the news we were looking for with the drought situation. And speaking of drought, most of it is confined there east of I-95. The D2, which is severe drought, is basically from Martin County to Edgecombe, Pitt, Greene, Lenoir, Wayne, Duplin, Sampson, and points a little bit further south. So anyway, there you have it. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of relief from that over the course of this week. We'll see. But that's the way the drought situation is. And I think we've pretty much covered all the topics for this week. I know it was a little bit lengthier briefing. I apologize for the extra time it's taken, but lots of info to pass along. Again, just to kind of quickly summarize, between 3 and 8 p.m. today, there could be some scattered thunderstorms, again, mainly along and east of I-95. One or two of those storms may become severe. Hail and damaging winds are the most likely hazard. Then, like I pointed out earlier, unsettled weather, meaning, isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms each day. Well, that'll persist through much of the work week. And those showers and storms will be mainly during the afternoon and evening. Again, be careful with outdoor activities because it's going to be kind of hot. Drink lots of water, take frequent breaks. And then when that front finally makes its good push through here late in the week, and we're not right sure, we haven't nailed down whether it's going to be late Friday or into Saturday, but sometime later this week, maybe into Saturday, that front will blow through and bring us a better chance for showers and thunderstorms. And again, we'll cover that in greater depth when we do our Thursday briefing. Okay, so and of course, it'll turn a bit cooler, a little bit drier, of course, dry and a bit cooler late this weekend behind that frontal system. There's the details at the bottom. You can see those temperatures pushing 90. And you can see how every day there's a 30-40% chance of rain. And look at that 80 for late Friday. So that's the better chance for rain with that front pushing through. So again, don't forget, this is again not to just to reiterate one more time. This is Hurricane Preparedness Week for Central North Carolina. So don't forget that. Here again, one more time, if you go to weather.gov, click that read more, and that'll take you to everything Hurricane Preparedness Week related. So help us out, spread the word, and get ready for what could be another busy hurricane season.